Good morning and welcome to the Planning Hearing Officers hearing for January 10th, 2018. My name is Laura Stotler and I'll be serving as a Planning Hearing Officer today. We have one case and the relevant exhibits are posted on the panel located directly behind me. The agenda, staff reports, and recommendation for today's case can be found on the city's website. A copy of the hearing procedures are available on the counter by the door next to the agenda, and you'll also find a copy of the staff report there as well. Under the provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.43 of the Glendale Municipal Code, a variance shall be granted if four required findings are present. And if you take a look at the staff report for today's case, you'll see that all those findings are outlined in the staff report. If the evidence presented in the application and at today's hearing meets the criteria, then the planning hearing officer can either approve or impose conditions for approval on the case in question. If the findings of fact are not evident, then the request will be denied. Notification of this hearing was accomplished by the use of public notices, which were mailed to property owners and occupants located within 500 feet of the subject property. The notices were physically posted on the site in question, and notices were also placed in the local newspaper and posted on the city's website. Hearings will proceed as follows. I'll read a description of the requested entitlement. The case planner will make a brief overview of the case, give an analysis, and make a recommendation. The applicant will then be asked to come forward, stating both name and address, and will be asked to present the case within a 15-minute time limit. Then others in support of or in opposition to the application and any other interested parties will be asked to come forward and speak, stating both name and address, and they will have a 3-minute time limit. Lastly, the applicant will be given the opportunity to make closing comments if desired in response to any of the testimonies given by preceding speakers, and the rebuttal will have a 5-minute time limit. The hearing will be closed and the case taken under submission. After the hearing, a decision will be prepared in writing and will be in the form of a letter sent to the applicant and to all persons who've responded to the public notice, either by speaking at this hearing or anyone who's also submitted a written response and provided a name and address. The date of the decision will be the date appearing on the letter. However, if a decision is made today at this hearing, then the date will be today's date, and a 15-day appeal period, and these would be calendar days, would start today. Under the appeal provisions of Title 30, Chapter 30.36 of the Glendale Municipal Code, the decision may be appealed to the Planning Commission within 15 days of the date of decision. Anyone wishing to appeal may obtain forms and brochures on the procedures from the Permit Services Center located in room 101 of this building. So we have green speaker's card by the door. Anybody who wishes to speak, please submit a speaker's form to our clerk. If you wish to speak, please write your name and address on one of the speaker's forms, which have been provided by the front door, and submit it to our planning assistant. I would like to also inform everyone that the official proceedings of the hearing are being recorded as part of the public record. So for the first case, we have a variance case PVAR 16211149 located at 846 Norton Avenue. The applicant is requesting approval of a variance to allow construction of approximately 335 square foot addition without providing 2 covered and enclosed parking spaces. This is a single family house located in the R1R floor area ratio district 1 zone, described as lot 152, tract 11040. The project is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act under Class 3 new construction and conversion of small structures because the project is in addition to an existing single-family house. So with that, I would like to ask the case planner, Roger Kiesel, to provide an overview of the case.
All right, good morning, Ms. Stotler. Suvana Patana is requesting approval of a variance to allow the construction of approximately 335 square feet addition to her single-family residence without providing 2 covered and enclosed parking spaces. The zoning code requires that upon creation of new floor area, additional parking spaces shall be provided for such new floor area unless the parking exceeds the parking requirements. In this case, 2 spaces are required. The city only recognizes the existing garage as being a 1-car garage because of the width and the depth. And so Ms. Patana is requesting a variance to allow her to add on to her house without providing that second garage. The subject site, 846 Norton Avenue, is zoned R1 and located on the east side of Norton Avenue between Glen Oaks Boulevard and San Fernando Road. The property is currently developed with a one-story, approximately 1,100 square foot single-family house containing 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a swimming pool. The applicant has owned the subject property since 1987. According to her, a family room and a covered porch existed when the house was purchased. These areas were not constructed with a permit. After purchasing the residence, the current owner enclosed the covered porch to create a bedroom and other rooms also without a permit. The project includes legalizing the approximately 280 square foot family room and a 50 square foot storage area accessed from the garage, and converting and legalizing the bedroom and additional rooms back to covered porch status, all without providing the additional enclosed parking space. By adding the family room to the house, enlarging the garage from one car to a 2-car garage with a minimum interior dimensions of 20 by 20 would be required by the zoning code. She is requesting a variance to allow her not to do this. Staff believes that the findings can be made for the project and recommends approval of the variance. The first finding, strictly applying the parking standards, would result in practical difficulties or unnecessary hardship, inconsistent with the general purposes and intent of the ordinance. The existing garage is approximately 17 and a half feet deep by 15 feet wide. It also includes a 13 and a half foot wide garage door. On one side, the garage is located on the eastern interior property line, so it has no setback. And on the other side, it shares a common wall with the living room of the residence. The floor of the living room is about 18 inches above the floor area of the garage. There's also a fireplace within that wall. The garage is set back approximately 28 feet from the front property line. While the garage could be lengthened to comply with the garage depth standards, it really would be an unnecessary hardship to do so. Because the existing garage is currently located on the eastern property line, any increase in garage depth would exacerbate an already legal non-conforming situation, since the attached garage cannot be located on interior property lines, unlike detached garages. In addition to increasing a nonconformity, lengthening the garage toward the street would require changes to the roof line in an area of the house that isn't proposed to be changed. It's only in the rear of the house. Widening of the existing garage would be practically difficult, given the garage is built on the eastern property line, and expanding in a westerly direction would really require removal of the existing fireplace and demolition and lowering a portion of the living room foundation so that it's at the same floor level as the garage. There are exceptional circumstances in this case that do not apply generally to other property in the same zone or neighborhood. The attached garage was constructed on the eastern property line, which is unique somewhat. Immediately west of the existing garage, the living room is approximately 18 inches higher than the floor area. While it's not generally unusual that the floor area of the house is at a different level as the floor area of a garage, it is an exceptional circumstance that the garage was constructed on the property line, and in particular that it was attached to the residence when it was built in 1936. During this time period, Modest houses were typically built with detached garages. In this case, it was an attached garage, so that's the exceptional circumstance. The granting of the variance would, to allow the addition to the single-family house without providing the two covered and enclosed parking spaces, would not be materially detrimental to the public. Due to the modest size of the residence and small bedroom count, even with the addition, it'll be approximately 1,350 square feet, relatively modest. And it will continue to, or it will contain 2 bedrooms. Additionally, it is not proven to be injurious to the property, as the house has existed in its present state for approximately 30 years. Again, this is, there are several additions done to the house without permit before as well as after the current owners have bought it. So the house has been that way for a number of years. Shouldn't be detrimental. And there haven't been any code neighborhood services violations aside from the present case of unpermitted additions. Finally, the granting of the variance will not be contrary to the objectives of the ordinance. One of the objectives of the zoning code is to accommodate reasonable development. The proposed project does this. The house, even after the proposed addition or legalization, will have just under 1,400 square feet of living area, which is relatively modest by today's standards. And it will continue to be, or to continue to contain, only 2 bedrooms. Actually, it's a reduction from 3. The project should not increase the demand for on-site parking because of these facts. The objectives of the parking standard is to ensure sufficient off-street parking for various uses and to lessen traffic congestion on public streets. Norton Avenue is a local street in the city's circulation element, and the lack of required minimum number of parking spaces at the subject site will not impact traffic congestion on this street, because this street gets a little traffic. So that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No, I don't have any questions. It looks very straightforward. I would now like to ask the applicant, Suvana Patana, to come forward. And please tell us about your project.
Introduce yourself as well.
My name is Suvana Patana. I've been resident in Glendale for the past, since 1987. Actually, we bought the house May 28, 1987. And like an American dream, that's our first house, and hopefully it's gonna be our last house, because Glendale is a very nice area to live. When we bought the house, right in the beginning, we didn't not know that permit or unpermit, what is the difference? We can afford the house, I can afford for the payment. And the neighborhood around that time, that nowadays changing, or either they're retiring or if they pass away. And we have a really such a nice neighborhood at that time. Both of my sons born in city of Glendale, and they've been grew up to be 30 and 29 years old. And I love my house. Probably I love my house the same way I love my life. The additional room, we just find out after we have problem from the survey or somebody that come to my house and say, oh, your house in the back is not permit. And I say, so what should we make it correctly? And that's why we came to the class that we need to comply the garage 20 by 20 per city at nowadays. The problem is the garage is very, very specific. It's not like my neighbor that have garage go to the back of the house. The house that we bought, the garage is built up right on the property line on one side, and the other side is already blocked up with share the common wall with living room. That's we have a very not a big living room that have a fireplace. So now the problem, we cannot expand on the widening out to 20 by 20. And the back of the garage is already restricted by one side is a 6-foot wall divided between me and my neighbor that we actually never see each other face because the wall is blocking there. And I'm pretty sure that whatever additional area is comfortable because our neighbor, there was stock that come with the house for the past 30 years. And that's why it makes me surprising to know what is going on, what happened. And then my husband and I discussed about this case since 2011, 13 or 11, I'm not sure. But we're going through with that, and I would like to have a city to give us a valiant for keep our house. And I okay with to change our additional room that to patio. It's gonna be a beautiful patio that we try to not make any noises to the neighbor. And then the patio that we have right now, I actually sit only the summertime, forget the fresh air in the morning when it's getting heater, I'm going inside the house. And only me and my husband live in that house. Our kid is already moved out, they have their own family somewhere else. So it's no any other people gonna live in that house until the last day of both of us.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. Did you, have you had a chance to look at the conditions of approval that were included with the staff report? Do you agree with those?
Yes,
Agree with those? Okay.
we
All right.
pretty much, my husband and I look at and we appreciate that the city planning to give us a choice, a chance to have something that we can negotiate to make it happen.
Yeah, the biggest concern I have on the conditions of approval, so I want to make sure you're aware of it. It's just that you would need to obtain a building permit for all the work that's enabled by the ordinance, just to bring it up to code for
Yes.
safety. All right. All right. I don't have any other questions, and I don't see anybody else in the audience. Therefore, I am going to close the public hearing on this case, and I am able to make all the findings that are outlined in the staff report, including all the conditions of approval. I've heard there's agreement with the applicant, so for that reason, I am approving this case today. And appeal, if anybody wants to appeal this decision, appeal applications for this item must be filed on or before 5 p.m. on January 25th, 2018. So thank you. That concludes this hearing item. I have no other cases on this agenda. Therefore, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.